Hello, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Alex Fernandez-Soncini, and I'm your host for today's session, coming to you from Sydney, Australia. Today, we're taking a look at Procore's Action Plans tool, originally built for digitizing ITPs. Today, we'll be diving into how it's being adopted in unique ways to solve for problems beyond ITPs. Now, I want to set the scene for you here in Australia and New Zealand. Building reforms and legislation are putting pressure on the industry to improve and digitize their quality assurance processes. We've partnered with an external research firm here in ANZ to find out how businesses are managing quality assurance, and found that businesses are spending in excess of 30 hours a week managing quality processes, sometimes up to 70 hours a week for larger businesses. Many of those hours are spent due to paper processes and siloed point solutions. Paper-based QA processes, particularly ITPs, increase the risk of rework and create a fragmented trail of unreliable information. There's no easy way to create, organize, and coordinate the quality of work in a project while keeping everyone informed and accountable. Doubling down on this, without a digital solution, ITPs are often scattered across multiple point solutions, often in the form of PDFs, spreadsheets, pen and paper, and can easily be lost, damaged, or inaccurate, leading to unreliable data. This can lead to ineffective quality systems that cause excessive rework and project delays, needless time and money spent collating and reworking documentation. And here in New South Wales, Australia, the threat of penalties such as stop work orders if an inspection was carried out, but the quality documentation can't be handed over for an audit in a timely manner. And lastly, doubling down on those compliance issues, particularly problematic on mission critical projects that need to be compliant with ISO quality standards. And that's why we developed action plans. We realized we needed to help strengthen QA processes without adding additional complexity. With action plans, you can provide a single view to reduce high volumes of siloed documentation on each job by linking between ITPs and drawings, inspection records, and specifications and other important documentation. Increase collaboration with third parties, clients, and other stakeholders who can access the relevant job records and update the data in real time on their mobile or on their PC. Stay in control of the process and facilitate integration between trades to verify processes, requirements, ensuring everyone can work autonomously. Verification methods such as hold points help sequence your plan, ensuring each job is completed to an agreed quality standard, reducing risk. Have flexibility with granular permissions to allow you to control each stakeholder and project team member achieving quality process outcomes. Crucial communications can easily be missed and become outdated on live projects. So drive and maintain accountability from everyone with individual assignees, and ensure teams receive the targeted communications via timely notification. Most importantly, ensure confidence and prove to your client, your consumer, and the regulators that the project followed the highest quality standards and each stage was approved by the relevant party. Now let's see the tool in action.
Are your ITPs lost, incomplete, inaccurate? Stop relying on manual solutions that don't support or future-proof your quality assurance plans. Introducing Procore Action Plans to help you plan, execute, and collaborate to achieve quality and compliance outcomes. Using Procore's best-in-class drawings, photos, and inspections tools, Action Plans is a consolidated approach to your quality plan. Build your plans and ITPs from templates that can be optimized and passed down from project to project. Dynamically import these templates into the project and customize based on your requirements. Set the supporting criteria and seamlessly execute on that plan from one controlled location. Outline plan sections and steps, add descriptions or expectations, and link to the necessary documentation. Get insight into program overrun and maintain accountability for all critical milestones through verification methods. Gather signatures and records to ensure standards and necessary stakeholder involvement. Access actionable supporting documentation and clarify expectations with checklists and forms from any mobile device. Site teams now have the clarity they need to execute your plan successfully, as the action plan updates in real time. Track progress of records so your plan can keep moving forward. Access and export your plan to show the full picture of intent and outcomes quickly for quality and safety management. Work collaboratively, improve your quality program, and verify standards. See the whole picture. Procore Action Plans, built for quality.
Since the launch of action plans in March this year, we've seen a number of unique use cases for the action plans being generated in ANZ, beyond just digitizing ITPs. Now on the screen here, you'll notice there's a couple of examples provided, things like project startup, things like safety management plans, environmental management plans. One really interesting use case that we've seen is how people are utilizing action plans to monitor legislative compliance. So in New South Wales, we have the RAB and DNBP Acts that are being enforced now, and essentially utilizing action plans to sequence out the work and ensure that each step along the way, they're proving out and maintaining their compliance against that legislative requirement. But there's one use case in New Zealand that we really wanted to showcase because of the amazing impact that it's had on the project delivery. So we're going to kick off a fireside chat with the leaders of the Waikato 50 project. This was a mission critical water treatment plant development delivered by the Fletcher Construction and Brian Perry Civil teams. In just a moment, we're going to meet Scott Meads, National Q&S Manager, and Douglas Clayton, Site Manager for the project. But first, I wanted to give you the highlights of the Waikato 50 project because it was a significant project, not just for the Fletcher team, but for the local community as well. Fletcher Construction and joint venture partner, Brian Perry Civil, were tasked with constructing additional treatment capacity on the Waikato water treatment plant, all while the existing plant remained operational. And if that weren't enough of a challenge, they were tasked with delivering the development on a timeline that was accelerated by 75%. Fletcher Construction chose Procore as the collaborative project management platform hundreds of people would need for the project, but it's their innovative use of action plans to scale project audits that we're going to dig into today. Now, welcoming the Fletcher team, and thanks for joining us. We appreciate you sharing your story. We've got a couple of questions that we wanted to ask you today. Now, the first question that we have is for Scott. What was the problem being solved with action plans on the Waikato 50 project?
Thanks, Alex. On the Waikato 50 project, as you've highlighted, it was a mission critical project for Fletcher's, for Watercare, being the organisation that provides water to Auckland and the wider Auckland region. And it was important that we moved quickly. So in some other projects, inefficiency or paper-based processes was more acceptable. However, in this case, given the strict compliance requirements of water treatment plant, along with the rapid pace of the project, we needed a collaborative platform. And what we found was that the action plans filled that gap. It digitised project audits and allowed us to move away from MS Word or paper-based processes. And in doing so, we still managed to ensure that we maintained our international accreditation for the likes of ISO 9001, 14001, and 45001.
Nice. And Doug, this next one's for you. How did you use action plans to digitize these audits?
Hi, Alex. It's a really simple answer. We used the action plan in cooperation with the inspection tool. We took our normal audit check sheets and we broke them down into a digital version using the inspection tool. And then we connect each of those into the action plan to manage each of the audits. The good part about both the inspection tool and the action plan is that we can organize the people and the places and the times for those audits to occur. It also gives us a lot of visibility in terms of who's done what when, and who needs to follow up on audits and what reporting is available.
Nice. And another one for you, Doug. What were the improvements that you saw when using action plans compared to your previous audit process?
Well, the previous audit process would probably take us about 6 hours at least to do 3 audits. We managed to more than half that, so it would take us about 3 hours to do a bunch of audits. The best part was, instead of using a raft of check sheets and spreadsheets and all the other bits and pieces with files stored away in obscure drives, it's all on one platform. The records all sit within the inspections tool and the action plan. And we draw, as well as that, we draw information off from other Procore tools, like the meetings tool and the correspondence tool and the documents tool. So the evidence for the audits comes in from those. So huge time savings in terms of organizing and running an audit.
No, that's really good to hear. Some really interesting data there. And Scott, this one's for you. What does this type of data mean for Fletcher Construction?
So for Fletcher Construction, just to give a bit of background to the organisation, so we consist of 5 different family of businesses. We have coverage across vertical construction, more heavy civils and industrial, as well as roading projects. And it's one of those things with paper-based processes or Word Excel type templates is they're not really scalable across a large organisation. And as soon as you start to step in to efficient systems and databases, you start to get data insights across not only one project, but multiple projects. So you can look to analyse trends on a project or identify and proactively address emerging risks across a wider portfolio. So what we found with this audit process was that it did give us better data insights into particular responses to audits. And as we continue to roll out this approach across multiple projects, what we expect to see is far better trend analysis and data insights than we could previously achieve with paper-based processes, or I'd still call them paper-based, using Word and Excel, even if it's a digital version.
Yeah, it's a good point to make. Doug, how do you think this impacted your data?
It comes down really to having everything in one place. We're now using, rather than using all these odds and sods check sheets, we've now got them in one spot. We've got them in one spot on a singular platform, and all the other tools are plugged into that. So it's you know, that old thing of data in, data out. It's nice and clean and tidy. Very good accessibility for everybody. They all know where everything is. And there's not data leaking out in different places. It's all held in one place, and it's because of those literally integrating 7 Procore tools into the action plan gives us that one platform for the audit process.
Nice, really good to hear. The last question that we have is for you, Scott. Do you think that this new standard process will end up being rolled out for all projects, and if so, why?
Yes, that's what we're intending to do. So within the Fletcher's company, we're effectively a year into our journey with rolling out Procore, and with the construction projects and the size and scale of the projects we deal with, it does take a bit of time for that, for all the new projects to come onto the platform. And there's a lot of depth and capability within the platform. So one is the technical solution, which we've achieved on Waikato 50, but there's also a training and competency piece, which we will continue to develop as we roll out more widely. And as we get people up to speed with the technology, what we'd expect to see is that when they can have that data all in one place, they'll experience the same time savings Doug has seen on that one project, but across multiple projects. And the managers and the functional leads will be able to get those insights that we're really looking for across the portfolio that we have.
Perfect. So it's needless to say a pretty successful kind of test on that Waikanato 50 project, which led to some really good insights in your data, better processes, and we're looking to roll this out as a standard process across the organisation. I really like hearing that. It's a good, successful piece of work that you guys have undertaken there. Scott, Doug, it's been a real pleasure to have you here. We're grateful for you sharing your story and your expertise and your successes on that Waikato 50 project. And I suppose we're keen to see how you go into the future on some of your other projects with this process and utilising Procore more extensively as well. And for our audience, Scott has very generously offered his time for consulting and advice. So reach out to him if you need. You'll find his contact details on the screen now. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks again to the Fletcher team for showcasing their project. We look forward to seeing you at the next Groundbreak session.